for us. So, Zain, how significant is this?
It's very significant. You know, Wolf, Mahmoud Ahmadinejad is seen as a major international threat by the U.S. There's also now some real visible discontent at home. Today, a rare protest.
Mr. President, you exhibit all the signs of a petty and cruel dictator.
It's one thing for the president of a major American university to slam Mahmoud Ahmadinejad. But when Iranian students confront their president on home turf, there's real risk. A group of 100 students staged a rare public protest, shouting "Death to the dictator" as he gave a speech. The presence of riot police didn't stop them. An echo of last December's protest when students set his picture on fire and booed him. This latest student protest was rare, and it's unclear what may have happened to those demonstrators.
The notion that an Iranian citizen would be able to go in a public forum with media present and harshly criticize his government and not expect to wind up in jail and not expect to bear consequences for it is simply unheard of.
Iranian experts say Ahmadinejad is getting more and more unpopular at home as the economy takes a nosedive and unemployment, Wolf, grows sky high.
Zain, thank you very much. Zain Verjee reporting. So has Mahmoud Ahmadinejad gone too far, even with his own people? Who's really running things in Iran? Joining us now from New York, Tufts University professor Vali Nasser, an Iran expert. He's the author of The Shia Revival. He's now teaching at the Fletcher School of Law and Diplomacy. Vali, thanks very much for coming in. Well, give us your assessment. What does this say about what's happening in Iran right now, where at least the president, if not the leader, the president of Iran is received this way at a university there?
Well, there has been a lot of opposition to Ahmadinejad's economic policies in Iran. He has not delivered on the promises that he made. Inflation is high. Some of the sanctions imposed by the United Nations are also taking a bite on the economy. And in addition, he has also become more dictatorial in the past year. His intelligence services have been harassing women, have been harassing students, and there is a sense that some of this pressure is now beginning to boil over within Iran itself.
A lot of experts on Iran have suggested, and Vali, give me your opinion, that the younger people in Iran are simply fed up with Mahmoud Ahmadinejad. They're on the internet. They want to see things change, and they're frustrated by what's happening in their country. Is that accurate?
Yes, that is accurate, but these were not the people who actually voted him into office. Ahmadinejad relied on the vote of poor Iranians promising to make their lives better once he became president. It is very important that the students have shown a bold initiative to oppose him. The next step will be to see the poor of Iran, who are still economically suffering, join in with this uprising.
Is he simply a figurehead, Ahmadinejad, or does he have real power in Iran?
He has many powers, but he is not the ultimate head of state in Iran. The head of state in Iran is the supreme leader of Iran, who controls the judiciary, most of the important organs of the state, and also the military forces in Iran. But Ahmadinejad controls the day-to-day administration of government, and as a result is responsible for the failures of that government.
What are the prospects that there could be a quiet, peaceful revolution, if you will, in Iran that would see him go and others more acceptable to the U.S., the West, come into power?
Well, we're not going to see a change towards democracy anytime soon in Iran. The Iranian regime has the ability to crush opposition very effectively. But the leadership in Iran, if they see Ahmadinejad being a divisive force, not only internationally isolating Iran, but also domestically leading to opposition, they may believe that it might be time to take their hands off of him and let him face the opposition in the parliament, in the streets, and ultimately at the polls in elections that are coming up in the spring and presidential elections that will be coming up in 2009.
What would be the smartest U.S. strategy in trying to get things better in Iran right now?
I think the United States should not interfere directly in internal affairs of Iran, because then opposition to Ahmadinejad can be seen as doing the bidding of the United States. The U.S. should continue with its international approach to Iran and let the course of opposition in Iran to take Ahmadinejad on.
Vali Nasser is the author of The Shia Revival. Vali, thanks very much for coming in.
Thank you.
There's a story just coming in to CNN. I want to go right to Carol Costello. She's monitoring the story for us. Carol, what's going on?
Well, according to the Associated Press, Wolf, Marion Jones, the sprinter, has relinquished her medals to the International Olympic Committee. Now, the IOC